with the running game obviously being so dominant. I know they care a lot about field position, and that part of it makes a lot of sense for me with the kickoffs becoming so much more prominent. So boom, put Tank Bigsby there. You give yourself an advantage. Welcome in, everybody, to a breaking news edition here across the JAKIB Sports Network. The breaking news tonight, our general manager, Howie Roseman, never sleeps. That proves to be true each and every single passing day. The Philadelphia Eagles have traded for running back Tank Bigsby from the Jacksonville Jaguars. They send a 2026 fifth-round pick and a sixth-round pick per sources. No confirmation yet exactly on what those picks are, but it's framed up as 2026 fifth and sixth round picks. So I will get you more clarity there as we learn about it. But running back Tank Bigsby has landed in Philadelphia. An interesting trade nonetheless. A lot to parse here. We'll get into all of it on tonight's show. All right, I'll try and get Johnny Mack up as soon as he possibly can. He said he was in information gathering mode. So we'll see why or what John thinks about the Eagles acquiring Tank Bigsby. All right, let's give you some intel about Tank Bigsby. I'll pull it up right now. When something like this happens, you go right into information gathering mode. He's 24 years old, guys. His rookie deal goes through 2026. He was a 2023 round 3 draft pick out of Auburn. He was taken 88th overall. So he is going to be a very cost-effective player. In 2024, last year, he had 168 carries for 766 yards and 7 touchdowns in 16 games. All right, so I'm going to I got John now. Well, give me one sec, guys. I'm going to send John the link. We'll get John up. Very interesting, though. I mean, you know, it's true that Howie never sleeps, but it's also true of like, all right, we got Saquon Barkley. We got Will Shipley, who is hurt right now. Maybe there's more to that Will Shipley injury right now. You got A.J. Dillon. Of all the things that we saw on Thursday night, hey, maybe the Eagles need help there. I didn't really see running back as the area that Howie would look to improve, but that's what he looks to do today, and he acquires Tank Bigsby. So I do think this is special teams related. I see Big Rhythm with the comment in the chat right now. I agree. I think there's some special teams thought processes here with the return game obviously becoming a bigger part of the NFL. So let's see what Johnny Mack has to say about the acquisition of Tank Bigsby for the Philadelphia Eagles. He joins us right now here on a special Football 24/7 edition. J-Mac, welcome into the show, man. Howie Roseman never sleeps, Johnny Mack. That's one thing we know.
Yeah, evidently he's not watching the Bears-Vikings game. So
no,
that's
he's not.
About to start. So Tank Bigsby, yeah. A couple things. Third-round pick a couple years ago, so fits into sort of Howie's mentality of taking chances on players he liked in the draft. I think this is more about my understanding is it's more about potential kickoff returner. The Eagles see him. If you've noticed over the first week, kickoff returns are going to be a much bigger deal now that they have the rule change and they're putting touchbacks out to the 35. So they're very happy with Will Shipley and A.J. Dillon as the backups to Saquon Barkley, but they wanted to have some kind of impact kickoff returner. Now, there might be some short-term. We'll get a better feel Wednesday because Will hurt his ribs, so there might be some short-term impact. I mentioned they might have to bring running back up from the practice squad, Audric Esme. Obviously, they won't have to do that now with Tank Bigsby, and they're going to have to make a roster move to fit him on the roster. But so short-term, but long-term, they love Will Shipley, and they're very happy with A.J. Dillon to be the backup. So long-term, this is more about finding what they believe could be a potential difference-making kickoff returner, which, again, is, maybe not the sexiest thing in the world, but it's a bigger thing than it has been over recent years in the NFL. Kickoffs were way up. Kickoff returns were way up past 70%. A couple years ago, they were they were dead, almost dormant. So it's a much bigger part of the game, and the Eagles wanted an upgrade there. And, it does give you more depth at the running back position as well.
No doubt about it, and we will see obviously how it all plays out with the two running backs. John, just give me your opinion on the trade. I know there's a reporter in you and there's an opinion guy in you. What's your opinion on it? I mean, all the things we've talked about since game one, John. I didn't quite think we'd be talking about a running back trade here on Monday night. But John, part of me loves it, the idea of a tandem of backs. Now, hey, maybe it's not this. Maybe it is Shipley, and maybe he kind of becomes specific in the return game. But I don't know. The thought of two explosive back kind of excites me behind that offensive line with Jalen Hurts, obviously, as a +1 in the run game. What's your opinion on this trade, John?
Yeah, I would not focus on the running back part of
Okay.
it. I think it's more of a special teams situation with this particular player. So if you think about it, they tried to dip into that with Keelan Robinson, picking up him off waivers from, ironically, Jacksonville for the same reason. Didn't work out. So I think you saw it was very quick. But you saw the impact that Will Shipley has it wasn't a pass. It ended up being a run, but it looked like a pass to most people. They're very happy with Will. They're very happy with A.J. Dillon. So it's going to be more about special teams than anything else. And from what I think of it, I mean, it's just another indication of how he always trying to, uncover every rock to improve the team as much as possible. And it's a thing that not a lot of people are going to think about, but the Eagles weren't happy, and part of it is Ben's injury. I think it was going to be a surprise to people. They were going to use Ben Van Sumeren as a kickoff returner. They consider it sort of like inside zone, as more of a running play with the new kickoff rules and how everybody's so close together. So they had these plans at kickoff return, and Will was part of it as well, and AJ was part of it as well. But they're probably not explosive enough to put that, long speed effort. If you break through that first wave, they think this is a player that could potentially do that. But yeah, I wouldn't I wouldn't focus on the running back aspect. He'll be the running back 4 on the team. He's not here to usurp anybody else.
Interesting commentary, John. I know that obviously field position is something that matters greatly, especially when you're a team like the Eagles play with the running game obviously being so dominant. I know they care a lot about field position, and that part of it makes a lot of sense for me with the kickoffs becoming so much more prominent. So boom, put Tank Bigsby there. You give yourself an advantage. A 5 and a 6 feels rich, John, for a kick returner. Do you agree, or what do you think of that?
Well, remember how many picks the Eagles have. So, and I think you saw it sort of manifest itself this year a little bit when you talk about moving on from some draft picks. And who knows, Antoine Powell-Ryland might be back. They churn the back end of the practice squad and try to play that little game to get an extra player paid each week. But, somebody might claim them. When you have so many picks, you can't keep them all. You'd like to, but you can't keep them all. It's just the numbers game becomes.
It's I will say, John, it's supposedly a very deep draft. Now, I know that's all kind of pie in the sky because everybody's guessing anyway, but it is supposedly a very deep draft next year. So, you give up 2 more of those picks.
Well, I would say look at this year, look at last year. When everybody talks about day 3 picks, and they may develop down the road, but you can look at day 3 this year. Drew Kendall wasn't active. Cam Williams wasn't active.
Right.
Miles Hinton's on injured reserve. APR just got waived from the practice squad. So, I know everybody likes door number 3. But when you have that many picks, especially on a team as talented as the Eagles, you're not going to be able to keep them all. And Howie's already said, we have so many, but we're going to be very aggressive in trying to make deals to make this team better. a little bit of that came out with what they were willing to offer for Micah Parsons as well. Obviously, much higher profile, but they've accumulated so much draft capital that they wouldn't be able to use it all anyway. So hey, if this sort of thing get wins again, something that a lot of people don't think about, hidden yardage they call it on special teams. If you can win that consistently and you're getting better field position and things like that, yeah, I'll give up a fifth and sixth for that.
Right.
Now it has to come to fruition.
Right.
But I get the thought process.
Right.
Of
Yeah,
it.
me too. I get it too. Makes sense.
Yeah. So again, everything comes down to evaluation. If he doesn't play and if he doesn't turn out to be what they presume he could be, then you have to, and the second part is, short term, you do have potentially an issue, and we'll get a better indication on Wednesday. Not going to be a long-term injury, but it might be a couple weeks potentially with Will Shipley, and then
Yeah, I
you
was going to
need.
say that. I wonder if that's a part of it too. How bad.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, because you might need a body for a couple weeks, and you could bring up Estime from the practice squad, or they brought Montrell Johnson back today, so he's on the practice squad. So you could bring one of those guys up, but this is a guy who's run for 900 yards. He's got NFL experience, so it probably helps you in the short term as well, as opposed to guys who haven't played a lot. Estime played some in Denver last year, but Montrell's obviously a rookie who hasn't played at all. So, it does give you more depth at running back. I just want to, for people thinking he's here to compete with Will or AJ, I don't believe that to be the case.
Well, John, let's just dissect that real quick with the role in the team. And I'm not pushing back and saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to get a gauge. I mean, you said you thought he would be the running back 4 here. So I'm just looking at his stats. Last year, John, 6 kickoff returns for 195 yards with a long of 41. Now, that's a pretty good output. It's not a lot of attempts. And the year prior, he had 4 attempts for 99 yards. So not too much there. And then you look at the running stats last year. He did play in 16 games, 168 carries for 766 yards and 7 touchdowns. Good for 4.6 average yards per carry. I don't know, John. Sounds like a better option than a running back 4. I mean, again, I'm not saying they don't like Will Shipley. I think you're right. I think they love Will Shipley. But I think they could see this guy as a little bit of a threat in both areas. Is that crazy to think, or just kind of your thoughts on the output of the player?
Well, how do I frame this? I'm not saying this because I think it's, everything's about evaluation. I saw the same numbers you did. Now they're impressive, but very short sample size.
Yes.
This is what the organization believes he can become as a kick returner. Can he do it? I don't know. I don't know. From the standpoint of numbers in Jacksonville in the running game, I take that with a grain of salt as well. But yeah, I've been told very clearly that the team is very happy with their running back room.
So Tank Bigsby might not be a big use in the running game, but I do think, John, they're right about the kick returns. I mean, if you just look across the NFL yesterday, I didn't see any data on it or anything, but there was a lot more kickoff returns.
And yeah, it was over 70%. So last year it was 30 something. Then it was over 70% going into.
So 70%, over 70% were returned actually?
Yes.
Okay, nice.
And going into tonight's game, which they just kicked off, and there was a return kick. So yeah, there's many more. It's a much bigger part of the game, and it's gonna impact games too for people that do it well,
right,
versus people that don't do it well.
John, now I want one more thing. I'm going to last question of the night, John, and thanks for joining on a short notice, as Howie loves to just keep us grinding, John, and I kind of love it. But I will say this. This is now 2 trades, John, and I'm going a different angle here. This is now 2 trades with the Jacksonville Jaguars that Howie has made in the last couple of weeks. You got the Tank Bigsby deal tonight, a 5th and a 6th, and you get Tank Bigsby. And you had the Fred Johnson trade a little bit earlier in the offseason, or right before the season started, end of the offseason, but a little bit before the season started as well. Howie's warming up that relationship, John. Do you think anything else could come out of the Jags? This wasn't the player I was hoping to see when I saw a Jaguars trade with the Birds.
I think I think it has more to do, and I've said it pretty consistently. The Jags have a new general manager, first-time general manager. The younger guys are much more willing to wheel and deal. So, look, anything's possible. But these were two, again, 7th round pick, 5th round pick, 6th round, late day 3 picks. Wasn't in the plans there. So these guys are willing to move people, which I think is the nature, and more people are willing to do that.
Yeah, I agree
with these young GMs. So I think it has more to do with that than just Jacksonville. Plus, he's probably thinking that maybe he can take advantage of the
you're certainly right about that. John, last question here. Do you think Will Shipley's going to the IR or no?
No.
Okay. So we think Will is going to be good from that. Johnny Mac, thanks for joining in tonight, brother. We will talk to you fully about it 8 to 10 a.m. tomorrow on another Tuesday edition of Birds 365. Looking forward to talking to you in the morning, Johnny Mac. Thank you, brother.
All right. Thank you.